It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
It has been 6 months since switching to the S24 Ultra. Hey, my name is Pete, and I used to be a lifelong iPhone user. Now, I love reviewing the latest tech. I love forcing myself out of my comfort zone to try new things. You know, I've been titling my videos lifelong iPhone user switches to Android phone for quite some time now. But for the first time in a very long time, I actually want to stick with this phone. Usually something always draws me back to Apple for some reason. And with so many good phone launches just around the corner, I want to sit down and just talk to you about how great the last 6 months have been with you. Because, coming from an iPhone, well, I don't need to tell you, of course, because everything has changed. So if you followed my story closely, I have posted regular videos throughout my journey of switching from an iPhone to the S24 Ultra, and it hasn't been easy, not to begin with. There's an awful lot to unwind when you are as deep in the Apple system as I was. From figuring out syncing all of my iCloud photos to replacing apps which can only be found on iOS, even down to something as silly as learning the sweet spot for the contactless payments on the phone. And then you've got the almost overwhelming number of choices to make. Google Pay or Samsung Pay, Google Fits or Samsung Health or Garmin Health. Which launcher to use, which keyboard. And so I have purposely shared these challenges throughout the last 6 months to hopefully paint an honest and a genuine picture of what it is like for most people who are making the switch. Now, one of the biggest things I was worried about was when I first switched was the overall performance. Since iOS is a very smooth operating system with really slick animations and just attention to detail that most people probably don't even notice. I just came back from Italy and decided to take my iPhone with me because we made a video about the iPad. And well, first thing, the battery died before 5 PM on the first day, so there's that. And second, performance actually felt slow. I mean, I have tweaked the animation speed settings under developer mode on the S24, but however convenient Face ID is on the iPhone, it feels like I can get into apps and enter passwords from my password manager much faster on the S24 Ultra. The performance of this phone has been just incredible. Now, I've not once experienced any slowdowns or lag in performance at all whilst using this phone. And I think that's down mostly to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy chip that, honestly, these Snapdragon chips are the best of the best when it comes to performance and efficiency. Now, I'm yet to actually come across a phone that's powered by Snapdragon that performs poorly, and so anytime I see Snapdragon powering something, it's usually a sign that it will actually be a pretty good device. Being invited to Apple's WWDC iPhone launch is one of those bucket list events that every tech reviewer dreams of. But right now, at the top of my bucket list of events this year is actually the Snapdragon Summit. It just looks like such a cool and just fun event to be part of. So if everyone could just go and spam @Snapdragon in the comments down below this video, please. Maybe share this video on Twitter and tag @Snapdragon_UK. Maybe I'll get an invite to Snapdragon Summit. And if I do, of course, I will share what the whole experience has been like. So anyway, back to the video. So after using the S24 Ultra for a while now, the only real issue I have with the design is that it is quite large and very square. And then when you add a case on top of it, it does make it feel like a bit of a weapon. Now, I did switch to the regular size S24 for a while to test, and I actually really enjoyed the size of it, even though it was the Exynos version we get here in the UK. But I like having the S24 Ultra's camera system, so I've stuck with the Ultra, even though it is a large phone. But on the flip side, my case of choice that I've stuck with pretty much exclusively for, well, literally the last few years or so, I love that on the S24 Ultra, it gives it a totally flat back, and with the built-in magnets, means I can literally stick this thing to anywhere that's metal at least, and it just sticks, unlike on the iPhone, which has this gigantic camera bump on it, and particularly on the Pro Max, usually means some careful placement is required to avoid it slipping. So this year, there are some exclusive features to the S24 series of phones. Now you've got the S Pen. Honestly, I've barely used it, but my kids absolutely love drawing on it, so it's kind of been useful in a handful of situations where the kids need, some entertainment to save our sanity. Samsung Dex, literally not once on my phone. On a tablet, yes, not on my phone. And Galaxy AI. Let's talk about Galaxy AI because this year it is a huge thing for Samsung, as we've seen with Galaxy Unpacked and the foldables events. There's even Galaxy AI in their earbuds now. But as far as the S24 Ultra goes and the AI features, really, I barely use them. Yes, features like circle to search have been really useful in a handful of situations, like being able to zoom in and find the pair of shoes the singer was wearing at a gig and summarizing long meetings. Now, for context, I do use my phone a lot. If you saw my recent video, I spend hours per day on this thing. Duolingo is really great at grabbing my attention, but not once when I'm replying to messages between friends do I think I need to tweak the wording and use AI to rewrite my messages. Although I did use ChatGPT to write a complaint email recently, I guess I could have used Galaxy AI to do that. And not once have I needed to move a person or erase objects in my photos. Now I think the feature I would most likely use would have been the smart replies within Android Auto, but the smart replies it generates for me are pretty much just basic yes and okay type of responses. But after seeing the latest Galaxy Unpacked event, it does sound like Samsung are developing this feature to be further contextually aware to the conversation and give you actual genuinely useful replies. So we'll see if that actually plays out into anything or not. But none of this is to say that the S24 Ultra is a bad phone. I love this phone and it is by far my favorite phone of 2024 so far. But I definitely think the implementation of these AI features so far is kind of underwhelming and not useful to most people. And to be fair, that is not even exclusive to Samsung. Practically every phone company is adding AI into their products this year. I think it's just been a case of let's just put AI everywhere and just see which features people use and then we go from there. It also baffles me why Samsung is still trying to force people to use Bixby when I genuinely don't know anybody who actually uses Bixby. Bixby users, if you're out there, please comment down below to say you're a Bixby user with your experience. And they won't even let you change the default behavior of the side key on your phone to launch Google Assistant unless you download Good Lock and Registar and third-party tools, which is one of the things I do love about Android. If you want to do something with your phone and stealing a line from Apple, there's probably an app for that. Now, the thing I am waiting for is getting AI integrated within Google Assistant, which I will say is much better than Siri overall. Now, I've started using Google Gemini recently, which is also, again, much better, but is still very limited in what it can do and what it has access to. When on Android Auto, it still triggers the basic Google Assistant and not Gemini. And after seeing the recent updates to Siri, or Apple Intelligence as they're calling it, I am very interested to see how quickly Google respond with similar features. But as a happily married man with 2 kids, we know it's not about what I think. How has switching from iPhone changed things? What frustrates my wife? And would my wife ever consider switching to Android?
No.
Now, as much as I tried, she wouldn't come on camera to talk about this. She's a little bit shy. But what she did say was she misses me easily being able to share photos with her, especially family ones with the kids, since it's a bit of a pain to open them on Google Photos and download them to her phone and then upload it to Apple Photos. Find My was another one, being able to conveniently see where I was. But outside of that, no real complaints at all. And she even said that the Fold 6 or the Flip 6 that's just launched looked very, very nice, and she might actually be giving that a go. So we'll see how that goes. Now, as far as what I miss from Apple, really the only thing is being able to easily add photos again to the TV wallpaper we have. We have Apple TVs all around the house, and we're often adding photos into an album that then randomly brings up old memories, which is always quite fun. But again, outside of that, really, I'm not missing anything at all. So, am I happy with the S24 Ultra? 1000% yes. I love the photos this camera takes, video quality is great, performance is great. I've only just about now figured out the sweet spot where the NFC is on the back of the phone, so I can scan myself into the gym on the first try almost every time. I've even come to love Android Auto, which has its limitations, of course, with home automation and browsing content. But I love how Google Maps just remembers places you visited and automatically suggests to navigate there without you having to be navigated there before. Now, I've not had any issues with finding apps, including some very random products like my new robotic lawnmower, smart barbecue grill, like all of those have apps that work just great on Android. And I really love using modes and routines, like similar to focus modes on iPhone. When I'm at the gym, it will have, it will change my wallpaper, give me direct access to my gym tracking app on the screen, and then have a routine at nighttime where it will turn on the air conditioning in our bedroom, set the temperature, turn off the other kind of things around the house, and other things like switching off the always on display, muting my phone, all that kind of stuff. I just love that level of automation. Now, the only bug that has still stuck around since like literally day one of S24 ownership for me has been in Instagram, where I will open the app and it just doesn't respond to anything unless I swipe across or swipe down, and then the app like unlocks. It's really minor since I can literally solve it in a split of a second. And I would say that battery life is really the only other thing. Like, this phone started off with incredibly good battery life. And then since a couple of recent software updates, it's been getting really like noticeably worse. And that's even when I've set the phone into the light performance profile and the screen set to full HD and not the higher quad HD setting. Now, I've had to charge to get it through the rest of the day quite a few times now, but at least to its positive, with the S24 Ultra, charging is like way faster than charging an iPhone. You can like throw this on the charger quickly before heading out for the evening and know that you'll still have enough battery to get you through to like the early hours of the morning. But what about the rest of the experience outside of the phone? Because as anyone deep into the Apple ecosystem knows, it's not just the phone, it's everything else, the watch, the headphones. And I've actually settled on a few key products that I've stuck with throughout my whole switching experience. The Apple Watch Ultra, that's gone. That has been replaced by this Garmin watch. Now, yes, I don't get some of the smart features that wearing a literal computer on your wrist gets you, but I've been loving the longer battery life, better health tracking features of the Garmin. Now, I've been logging my workouts to Strava via the Heavy app too. Both of those work on both iOS and Android. Headphones, I've stuck with either my Beats Fit Pro at the gym and more recently the Sonos Ace when traveling. And then weirdly, I've also stuck with my Mac laptop, at least for now, although I did try the latest Snapdragon laptop recently, and you can watch a video of that on the channel soon. And 1Password has also made this whole process just so much easier, switching between iPhone and Android and Mac and Windows. Now, I know you can use built-in password managers like Samsung Knox and Apple Keychain and Google Chrome passwords, but if you use one of those to store everything, then the moment you pick up a different device, it just becomes impossible to seamlessly store and share your passwords. We even store and share other information like our passports between me and my team here, so that when we need to book flights, we can just copy and paste all of that data without having to keep asking each other for what's your passport number and your expiry date and all those kind of things. And so, as a long-time sponsor of the channel, there is a link down below where you can either get the personal or a family subscription of 1Password for the lowest possible price. And genuinely, as a happy user of 1Password for like a decade, they are always an easy recommendation to make to anyone. But the whole point here is that with Android, you have way more freedom to find like your best fit product for each area. Now, the only issues that this can cause at times is an ecosystem that can be kind of quite fragmented depending on the decisions you make. And this means you can choose whichever watch or tablet or laptop or desktop that you want. Like, you are free to choose, and you're not locked into the small square one, the bigger square one, or the biggest square one. Now, I've had this thing called Vitality Health Insurance for like literally years now. And to the Americans watching, I'm about to blow your mind by saying that I pay less than £100 per month for health insurance. And to anyone in the UK watching, there is a link down below that gets you and me both £100 when you sign up. And by exercising or walking or whatever it is, I earn points, which in turn give me things like free cinema tickets, free coffees. You can get cheap Apple Watches, 40% discount on Garmin, 40% discount on food, 15% off at Samsung. It is just like, it is well worth it. And with Apple, that's fine. It just works. With Android, it is fine as long as you're careful. Like Samsung Watch, all good. Garmin Watch, all good. But I tried using a OnePlus watch last week, and I actually really, really like that watch. It works well, it's fast, it looks good. I just like having the smart features back again. But it talks to its own app, which is, I think it's called O Health, and that then syncs to Google Fit. But Vitality refuses to accept any workout data from the OnePlus watch, like saying they need to have some agreement with OnePlus directly before they can use their data. I don't really get it. But it is really annoying because that one thing prevents me from exploring as many other products as I'd like to.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know.
Okay, but what about my Apple friends and family? No more AirDrop, no more iMessage, no more sharing workouts. Nah. Now, I've not had a single complaint from anybody, like literally anybody. Now, for context, I am a married guy with 2 kids, so there is that. I'm not some, hip and young, trendy youngster whose social life seemingly depends on what phone you're using, which seems to happen a lot in the States. Now, my family all use iPhones. My friends use a mixture of iPhones, Samsung, Google Pixels, and it has not caused any real problems for me whatsoever. Like, we simply switch to WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger and life goes on. Now, of course, the big question after 6 months of switching to the S24 Ultra is what's next?
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you